A classic matchup, but always an absolute banger. What I've got for you today is a Terran versus Zerg between two of Korea's finest. First up in the bottom right-hand corner of Gressven, sending out an SCV right at the very start. We're looking inside of the main base of ByuN. His opponent in the opposite corner, playing here with the blue Zerg drones, he goes by the name of Dark. Alrighty. We've got ourselves an SCV moving out right at the very start of this game. What exactly is the plan? Where are we rallied? Normally, if you want to go for a bunch of proxy racks, you'd be sending a oh, no. Really? ByuN, this is a Terran versus Protoss build order. Yeah, this is... this is... Alright, he's immediately taunting his opponent as well. This is not normally something you do against a Zerg. There's a little laughing emoji with the beautiful Korean language. You can repeat essentially any character to make it look like a laughing emoji in Korean. Not entirely sure what Dark is saying here, but this is already very annoying, and Dark is now forced to go for that third base first. I wonder if this is... Oh my god, this is so greedy. So wait, he goes supply depot into engineering bay on the other side of the map to block his opponent's expansion, and then into a command center? This basically means that ByuN is not gonna have any units out until like 3 minutes into the game. Okay. I wonder if this would actually block like a 15 supply hatch on the low ground. You know that Eric opener that we've been seeing quite a bit? Well, Dark hasn't been playing it that much, but I think this is a specific build that ByuN probably wanted to bring out right here for Dark. Because these two, they really play against each other all the time, but yeah, they're obviously very good at the game, and because of that, they are well familiar with what the opponent's capabilities are and how they can counter them. There's a lot of mind games here going on. I really wonder what Dark just said though, when ByuN showed up with that really quick engineering bay block. This is never something we see in this matchup, okay? The main problem is, imagine if Dark decided to go for any sort of pool first opener, right? Literally any kind. This command center would never happen. Now, I guess if that were to be the case, if ByuN did not see a drone attempting to take the natural and then, well, heading down south, right? I mean, that could have been a fake, but the odds of that are pretty low. Anyways, if that would have been the case, he probably would have never made the command center here on the low ground, and maybe it would be hiding over here in the main base, so there might still be some wiggle room, but he would certainly be in some trouble. Bunker coming up right now inside of the main base as well, so he is definitely gonna play this pretty safe. But yeah, I mean, I set the 3-minute mark. It's gonna be like 2 minutes and 45-ish seconds when the very first Marine pops. Normally, the very first Reaper pops at about 2 minutes and 2 seconds. Something along those lines. It kind of depends on the execution. But of course, this is a, yeah, good situation right here for our Terran player. Okay, so we're gonna go straight into double add-ons as well. So despite the engineering bay block, I think we're just gonna transition then towards like a 2-1-1 opener with Stimpak, 16-ish Marines, and then I guess a starport here on the back of it? Yeah, there's the Stimpak upgrade coming up. Okay, so we can compare the timings here. We can see how far off or how far ahead ByuN is really going to be. Normally, a 16 Marine opener... Ooh, looks like there was a little bit of a pause in the game. Maybe a little bit of a lag spike, something along those lines. Anyways, normally a 16 Marine opener with, well, 16 Marines, 2 medevacs, and Stimpaks. It hits on the other side of the map at about 5 minutes and 10 seconds. Something along those lines. A lot of Zerglings have been made, however, here by Dark, who may be a little bit flustered after that early game. He's actually making a lot. Way more than you would ordinarily make. He's got enough gas as well for +1 melee. Yeah, that's what he decides to start up here. There is a bunker on the high ground, but nothing on the low ground, so ByuN can always retreat into the main base if he wants to. Another supply depot over here. He is trying to reduce the service area here to the best of his abilities. Does not want to get those... Oh my god, the Marines surrounded. They do get somewhat surrounded here. Okay, now they definitely will all fall. I don't think I hate this though for Terran. I mean, it's a bunch of damage, right? It's gonna suck a little bit. But all things considered, I think this is actually an excellent start right now for ByuN. Yeah, he's got the worker advantage at this point in the game. Well, at least when I started that sentence. Dark is not in the most comfortable position here as far as macro goes. So the +1 melee here on the back of this is interesting though, because that would be an indication that he wants to continue down this path. Normally, Zerg players would be going into a lair and baneling speed and all the rest of it, and maybe that's what we're gonna see here from, well, Mr. Dark eventually, but all of the timings here are gonna be a bit out of whack. Now, I do like the double Hellions here, actually. Don't know if that was the original plan. I think he probably made that reactor to be able to pump out 2 medevacs at once. Yeah, there's 2 medevacs queued up here. But the timing of everything that ByuN wanted to go for is, well, thrown out of the window. Combat shields on the back of it right now too. Yeah, normally I think he'd be flying across the map at this point in time. So about the moment that I was predicting earlier. The timing actually is very similar, despite the engineering bay here. But anyways, yeah, I think he was planning on going across the map, and he may very well still decide to go ahead and do so, but he needs to be very careful. There's room inside of that medevac for 8 Marines, and at this point there's quite a few more of them marching out. Hellions? Okay, I don't think you guys should go across. Yeah, Zerglings are already running here at the bottom of the map. Eventually we do get a full wall in. Okay, nice roasting. A couple of the Zerglings do get split off. At this point, +1 melee, however, is done. And +1 melee really does help out quite a bit when it comes to, well, just surrounding Marines and trying to kill them. Unupgraded Zerglings really don't do that well against, especially like medevacs that are healing the Marines at the same time. Now we're gonna go into the +1 armor as well. Okay, so the +1 melee is quick. The +1 armor here is relatively slow, all things considered. So I guess in the end, we end up with a pretty even game. 7 Marines get picked up and evacuated and out of there, and these guys are once again off to a flying start. Like, none of the things we're seeing in this game so far are standard at all, but they're like normal-ish. You know what I mean? Like, if you've watched a whole lot of StarCraft 2 over the last few months, you'll recognize that this is a pretty normal game, but the ways in which we're getting to like a quote-unquote normal state are very different than what we normally have. So this shows a lot of flexibility in both of these guys, of course. Apparently, though, all the roads eventually do lead towards that Bailing Nest here for Zerg. Lair at 6.5 minutes, I guess, started up. Double macro hatchery in the main base. Okay, Dark is no longer messing around here. This is, at the very least, going to allow him to move around those queens a lot more aggressively, because he's going to get a lot of larva generation that way. Anyways, who's really ahead at this point? A bit tricky to say. I think I slightly favor this position here for Dark. Especially if he finishes up the drones here for one of his bases, because he honestly really needs like 75 drones before he can properly start producing army. At the very least, that's usually the quote-unquote rule. My main concern for him right now is that Bailing speed. So Bailing speed is going to be very far behind. Zergling run by here at the bottom of the map, at the 3rd base. 5 SCVs end up going down. I think about 20 Zerglings probably died. Okay, maybe not quite that many. +2 melee here as well, and then a Hydralisk down. Okay, so we're actually... We're actually delaying the Bailing speed upgrade by a lot. Yeah, there it finally starts up. So normally that upgrade in particular is pivotal for Zerg. Because Terrans will usually on this map, they will go for a drive-by over here, right? So siege tanks get into position, and then suddenly it's very difficult for the Zerg to hold on. But I guess in this particular game, it's not really a situation where ByuN can go for sort of those sorts of attacks either, right? So, yeah, because of all of this aggression here from Dark, it's difficult for ByuN to go for an attack like that. So, even though Bailing speed is like 2, maybe even 3 minutes late, it still is going to be okay. Yeah, good amount of creep spread as well. This attack is going to be scary, though, for the Zerg. With good micro, and ByuN has some of the best, he can pick up those Banelings. Yeah, there you go. Beautiful. He targets them down brilliantly there, so that is all of the splash damage gone out of this army. And this is what I was talking about earlier. He's just gonna have Zerglings. Now, he's got 63 of them. That is a lot. They do have +1/+1. Okay, that is apparently gonna be enough. Jimmy, no, don't do it. Jimmy and Mark, no, don't do it. Marine drop in the main base. Jimmy over there apparently is thinking about retirement, but I don't think he's ever gonna get it. And these traits over here are tremendously good for ByuN. Yep. Oh, even getting a couple of the Hydras as well. Does end up losing a medevac. Does end up losing Jimmy here as well. The queens do not have any chill. Now Bailing speed is done though, and... Okay. So in the end, Zerg has lost a whole lot more here than Terran. They have a pretty similar looking economy. 4th command center, flying on over towards the right side of the map. This is so funny to me, man. So, when this map was first introduced, right? When Gressman was first introduced, at this point probably like 8 months ago? I don't know, it's been a long time. I feel like I've been casting games on this map for ages, but... This is where we used to expand, okay? So main base, natural, 3rd base, and then eventually a 4th over here. Then the Terran players figured out if I take a planetary over here in the forward position instead, it becomes much easier for me to actually take a 5th and a 6th. This is one hell of an anchor. It's very, very difficult for the Zerg to break a planetary in that position. And now for some reason, Terrans are taking the base again over here on the right side. And maybe even worse than that, well, worse for the Zerg anyways, because there must be a good reason what ByuN is doing, is he decides to go for an orbital comment over here. So this is now 4 orbital comments. 4 orbital comments. Look, you're so funny. I'm gonna hit the like button. Thanks, guys. No, but seriously, this is a strange development. I really feel like that planetary in the middle of the map is significantly better. Anyways, Hydras are showing up. Lurker Den is coming up as well, and maybe that's actually the reason why we don't see the planetary over here anymore. The Zerg players are very in tune with the Lurker Den timings. So if you go into the Lurker speed upgrade and the Lurker ranged upgrade, right, you can just sort of burrow like, 6 or so of them over here, and once they get into that position, very difficult for the Terran player to break, especially if they're still like mid-ghost transition. Speaking of which, now with 4 base eco, I mean, this is another thing that's been bothering me a little bit from Terrans lately. They don't seem to be too keen on making that Ghost Academy anymore at an appropriate time. Right now would be the moment for him to go for ghosts. A lot of Terrans have been delaying that though. I don't know why. My current theory is that they don't want the Ghost to get nerfed with the next balance patch of StarCraft 2, so they've decided to play it a little bit less. But genuinely, it's just such an amazing unit here. There's really no reason not to go for Ghosts, or at the very least have the Ghost Academy when you're maxed out. There's really no reason. Anyways, big engagement over here. ByuN trying to get a good fight, but honestly, I don't know if I like this fight for him all too much. There's very few banelings though, but it looks like just Lings and Hydras are going to be enough here for Dark to push this back. Dark at this point at 84 workers versus 76 from ByuN. Okay. I can't believe he built this base on position. Like, it would be fine if this was the 4th and a planetary, then you could probably build this base on position, because it's kind of out of the way. Alright, there's the Ghost Academy as well. It's just so funny how these guys are playing the game, man. They're no longer playing the matchup, they're no longer even playing the map, they are playing the opponent. Right? And this is the ultimate end goal for StarCraft 2 when it comes to competition. Where you're not really thinking about the opponent's race anymore that much, you're not really thinking about the map layout that much, but you're thinking about your opponent's tendencies and what you've seen in the dozen times you've faced them here over the last month. Okay, planetary coming up, Lurkers also coming up right now for Dark. His economy is actually really nice. Zergs have been taking this base at the bottom a little bit before the base over here in the middle, which is kind of cool to see, but this one is susceptible to harassment, and that's exactly where ByuN is currently headed. He does have lurkers available right now to deal with most of his bases, but nothing over here in the bottom left. And that may very well be, well, if he decides to target it, be a problem right here for this expansion. Okay. Yeah. At the same time, big stim right here through the center of the map. ByuN needs to be careful, but of course he is. Amazing micro by him, as always, right? He's microing multiple areas at once. Not easy to do. Retargets that Widow Mine as well onto the Baneling there specifically. There's a lot of little moves that are really nice. Definitely one of the fastest players in the world. Anyways. Big picture at this point. Where are we at? We've got the command center explosion happening here on the right side of the map. We've got 5 base Terran economy. And Zerg is slightly behind, I would say. This is where I favor Terran pretty much every single time, but Dark is one of the very best late game players in the world. Is that a planetary in the main? No, it's an orbital. Would have liked to see a planetary, actually. We've seen that a little bit lately, where Terran players... Okay, free Zergling donation. Where Terran players are so concerned of a lurker in the main base push, right, with a Nidus Worm, that they actually make a blind planetary in the main with like a ring of missile turrets. I think it's kind of cool. I haven't seen Dark play it at all too much though, but it has happened. And maybe this command center is going to be upgraded. Sensor tower over here too, so it is definitely something that ByuN is thinking of as well. 10 lurkers in the main base is an absolute disaster to have to deal with. Okay, additional lurkers coming up right now. How many snipey boys do we have? We've got about 11 of them, with 4 more coming up. Pew! Nicely done. Of course, the ghosts themselves can cloak as well, but this is a big attack right here from Dark. He's actually gonna attack right before those additional lurkers finish up. Nice target firing right there by ByuN, getting rid of those banelings relatively easily. But the links here at the bottom are absolutely ravaging that mineral line. 16 SCVs have already fallen here, and this aggression is not done just yet. Okay, he decides to have a couple of those Marauders and Marines stimming in this direction. More and more scans over here, though, do reveal where all of the lurkers are at. And despite the fact that there is a lot of loss right here on the side of ByuN, I don't know if I like this too much here for Dark. I mean, it's a lot of SCV kills, right? Which is nice and all, but he's giving up a lot of his very expensive units. And it's not like he's rich here. Like, he's got some gas still in the bank, but he is... I feel like the counterattack here from Terran is going to be absolutely tremendous. Okay, now that was a pretty good fight, all things considered. Banelings showing up as well, but good splits there by ByuN in the end. Does end up losing a few of them. Now he's stimming forward in the direction of the lurkers, and all of them are going to go down. Instant counterattack, right? Yeah, I think we immediately go in for the counterattack. So he's still making lurkers here. A lot of Zergs would be switching back to Hydraling Bane. So he's actually scanning right here for the bases, trying to figure out if he needs to go for an attack. Maybe getting a little bit ahead of himself and over-eager to fight is not the way to do it. Because if Zerg is currently just sitting on those expansions that he's seen, I mean, he can only be sitting on those expansions that he's seen right now, maybe just giving up this fight here and just, yeah, continuing macro by himself is the better call. I mean, if we look right again at the resources lost, none of these traits are particularly efficient for the Zerg, and ByuN knows it. Now he is maxed out, so he may as well test the waters. Big stim over there activated right away. We did have a medevac drop here heading down south as well. Super annoying, of course, for the Zerg to have to deal with this. Lovely play here by ByuN. Okay, some decent Widowmine hits. Some of them betraying some of that army as well. And that Widowmine drop, or that Marine drop here at the bottom of the map is actually putting in a lot of work. There is one lurker here harassing. There's another lurker on the right side of the map as well, being a nuisance. But for the most part, I do believe that our Terran player got the better trait. Sorry, guys. The medevac decided to drift away. Pilot sleeping on the job gets immediately sniped as well. Speaking of snipes, I think we're going to be seeing one over here too. Pew, 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 pew. Oh, you guys need to not get hit by that. Okay, there we go. Looks like there was a Widowmine detonation over here, judging by all of those Zergling carcasses. A couple of Lings do manage to sneak in, but I don't think they'll really be able to achieve that much. And slowly but surely, in a very wild game of StarCraft 2, ByuN is inching further and further ahead. Dark is sort of relying on the Terran player to make a mistake, but ByuN has not really been making any here. Honestly, like, amazing gameplay right here from ByuN. Really showing us how good he is at the game right now. He doesn't have as big of a bank, but that's because he's making so many command centers, right? So he's already at 7 command centers that have orbitals grown on top of them. We've got a few more, 4 more actually, coming up. So he is prepared for a proper late game. He knows that he's playing against Dark, so there's always a chance that suddenly there's like 12 infestors out on the battlefield, and you're like, okay, that is gonna make it difficult for me to actually attack. In this case, though, I do feel like he can actually get a little bit more aggressive. Couple snipes once again. More lurkers. Not bad. There you go. That was like 4 or 5 lurkers going down there, maybe even more than that. Looks like there was a lurker that was also set up over here. Yeah, ByuN more than happy to play the late game here. Okay. I feel like most Terran players are a little scared of playing against Dark in the late game, but ByuN clearly has a lot of confidence. Once again, a big run by over here at the 3rd base of the Terran. This expansion always in a lot of trouble. We are going to be breaking through some of this wall, and then we're going to try and get into the bases. At this point, though, killing SCVs, I mean, it's nice. And obviously, this is actually a really good attack right now. Lurkers over here do get killed. This is a good attack right here from our Terran, or from our Zerg player, rather, destroying a lot of that Terran infrastructure. Lurkers over here at the front as well, trying to be annoying. But this is usually not really the point anymore where ByuN is concerned about SCVs. He's got orbital commands for days. Not this one anymore, though. He tried to repair it there, but not gonna happen. He's got quite a few orbital commands, 8 of them in total, 2 more coming up. He's gonna have 10 of them. Ghost Academy here, 2.0 coming up too. With all of those mules, right, he really doesn't have to be concerned about SCVs anymore. So only 39 supply count right now is, or supply rather, is, well, used up by those workers. And that means that his army can be absolutely massive. We're already going over a 150 army supply count. And that is not something that Zerg can really ever do. I mean, maybe in the ultimate late game when like all of those mineral fields are mined out, but you can see Dark is actually still adding on drones. Trying to replace the ones he's been using for all of those structures of his. He wants to sit at 80 sharp. But that does mean that he's got nearly twice as much supply caught up right here in workers than our Terran. Still though, Dark is still in this game. Where's his army currently at? Okay, so he's got mostly just Hydraling Bane with 12 lurkers. Yeah, couple banelings only, really. Not a very inspiring unit composition, to be honest. We really need some infestors, we really need some vipers, but Dark hasn't really had the money and the resources to make that transition. Some decent snipes here once again. We're gonna try and push into the lurkers, it looks like. Target firing down whatever he can. That's another lurker going down. And this expansion is not going to happen. In the meantime, we have the rest of the army. About half of it, maybe a third, is heading up north as well. They're gonna start working on those rocks. They're expecting a hatchery here, but none of that is even acquired yet by the Zerg. Slowly but surely. Yeah, ByuN, ever honestly since like the 3-minute mark, I've been liking, okay, maybe not quite the 3-minute mark. Although he did go for that very cool opener as well, there you go. Slowly but surely, he's been gaining the advantage and he's been building on it and he does obtain the victory right here on Gressven. Neo-Humanity. That's game number 2 in this Best-of-3 series. This time around, there wasn't an SCV going across the map to build an engineering bay in the opponent's natural. Standard hatch gas pool opener right here from Dark. Honestly, standard opener right here as well from ByuN with that very quick double barracks right here at the front. Alrighty, the Zergling dance, it begins. Can he get a Ling? Can he get a drone even? Probably not. 6 Lings here in total, 2 more showing up a little bit later to party. But that is just to try and make sure that he doesn't lose anything until the queen is out. And he does actually snatch a Zergling. Not bad at all. Alright, this is the new standard right here from our Terran player, although Zerg already did sneak out a 3rd hatch. In a location that will be quite difficult to scout, actually. Normally, you really expect it over here, or maybe even over there. If ByuN wants to scout this, he's gonna have to dedicate time to moving all the way to the left side, and at this point, he may just assume that his opponent is playing a 2-base opener. Okay. Nice little bit of jumping towards the high ground there. Okay. So, it's gonna be triple CC right here for our Terran. And he's transitioning towards that Stimpec upgrade that is incredibly exposed. ByuN really needs to figure out what he's playing against. He hasn't yet seen what's going on, but I think he's going to check right now, yeah. Because if you assume that it's 2-base play, this game becomes entirely different. Okay, it does get the creep tumor over there, that's nice. But, yeah, if you realize that it's 2-base play only, you really have to be worried about, like, quick mutas, maybe quick Nidus work. Like, there's a variety of strategies that Zerg can go for, but most of them are tech-based, right? If you know that there's a 3rd hatchery up, it becomes pretty obvious that Zerg is going to be macroing for at least a little while, and they'll usually be delaying some of that tech instead. Alrighty, 1 Marine here. This is standard lately. We've been seeing this a lot. In case, I guess, of a Baneling bust, something along those lines. Jimmy over here, and he may not know, but Jimmy over here has been tasked with a couple of his buddies to, okay, we have now 2 of them, to just take as much damage before those Zerglings and those Banelings reach the wall. Not happening though in this game, although Dark is making a round of Zerglings here. 4th hatchery coming up real early. That is actually a bit funky. Okay, so this is not something that ByuN has currently seen. So 43 Zerglings, or sorry, 43 drones into just mass Zergling production. He's gonna try and knock down... That is very strange. He's making loads of overlords. I guess this is mostly a macro hatch over here? Just 1 gas. No Baneling nest. No evolution chambers. No lair. Nothing. He's sitting at nearly 200 gas now. He's just making non-stop Zergling. Okay. So what's the plan? Like, sure, this can work. Maybe you can deny one of the upgrades. That's nice and all. Stimpack, however, is already finished. There's the double evolution chamber on the back of this too. We're making so many Zerglings though. Yeah, we're going up to 70-ish Zerglings here. And he's not droning anymore either. All he really did was spend 2 drones right now on evo chambers, but that's it. Other than that, the drone count has not changed. So, this is of course gonna be an attack here, where not every single marine is gonna fit inside of the medevac. My god, he's got so many Zerglings. This is so random. He just made 1,000,000 Zerglings and that's it. Oh god, you gotta get home, you gotta get home! There are so many links available. The depot is down, they're just gonna run in. This is such a strange attack right here from our Zerg player. You know what? It looks like it's gonna work. Yeah, I really can't tell what the purpose of that attack was, to be honest. So he made 43 drones, decided, you know what, I'm gonna make a 4th hatchery, and then all I'm gonna do is hold down the Zergling button. How in the world is that a build that could work out successfully most of the time? It probably doesn't. I think it's probably something that Dark just decided to bring out. Maybe he wanted to sort of like soft contain his opponent on 2 bases, right? So when you have about, well, 40 workers yourself, you can match your opponent's 2-base economy. And if at that point you haven't really been harassed by, for example, Hellions or something like that, right? In quite a bit, and you can just freely drone and rush straight up to like 40-something workers. If you then start up mass link production and you can contain your opponent on 2 bases and then maybe drone behind it? Maybe that was the original plan and he just didn't really expect to win with that attack, but it really did seem a little bit odd to have like 70 links available at that point in the game. Anyways. Once again, triple Rex opener right here for ByuN. Once again, very exposed add-ons. Are we once again gonna see a whole lot of Zerglings? I would be surprised, but honestly, it is dark, so you can sort of expect anything at any time. These guys have played so much StarCraft 2 that they're no longer worried about the main objectives, okay? They're doing side quests only now. Nice flip right there by Brenda, jumping over the other queen. Queens are big, by the way. The fact that the entire queen got off the ground and jumped over another is actually kind of insane. Ooh, can he get one of them? That would be massive. Like, a marine is supposed to be like 180, I think. Like, a marine in a suit is probably even taller than that, but... Say a marine is like 6 foot, right? I've got a feeling that a queen has to be the size of a house. And for one house to jump over another, you need some big grenades, man. Not exactly sure what these Reapers are throwing, but... for the queen only to take that small amount of damage and then to jump over... it's kind of insane. Maybe they're trampoline grenades. That's the only thing that would make sense. Anyways, we're coming up on 43 workers again. He's making 1,000,000 overlords. Don't tell me we're just gonna flood the map again with Zerglings. Flood the map with happy Zerglings. No? Okay. Sorry. It's a bit early, eh? I mean, it's the middle of summer as I'm recording this. Okay, there's the 4th base coming, I think. We're making mass LING again. If this works twice in a row, I am gonna lose my mind. So 43 links, or sorry, 43 drones. Somehow I said the same thing last time. 43 drones, 4th hatchery, mass Zergling production, double evo when he hits 200 gas. That's it, that's the build. This time around, ByuN decides to venture a little bit deeper out onto the map though. He needs to be careful, because obviously in that previous game, he was in a lot of trouble against mass LING. Combat shields and Stimpack at this point are done though, and this is a bit of a different attack actually here from ByuN. A lot of queens available, just mass LING production. Once again, there's the double evolution chamber. Okay. So when do we stop making Zerglings dark? Because we're still just making 1,000,000 of them. He's got 54 links right now. Okay, he's gonna get the wraparound on these marines. If he decides to commit, there you go. Stimpack and combat shields are good though. Yeah. I mean, he cleans this up, but is that... oh my god, it's an absolute massacre. But anyways, he cleans that up, but is that actually good for the Zerg? So what are we gonna use the rest of these links on right now? Okay, no, we're just using them for, I guess, a soft contain on the Terran for a little while, and then we're droning behind it? Considering Dark literally did the exact same thing this time around, this has to be the exact amount of workers that he's aiming for, and the exact amount of gas income, and the exact timing on everything. Double hatchery once again in the main base. So I just want to emphasize, right? I see a lot of Zerg players that I coach, for example, that are, well, not keen to make macro hatches. This is Dark making 2 macro hatcheries inside of their main, or inside of his main base, at 43 workers, right? Like, he didn't really start droning the 4th base until just now. So anyways, he's gonna be able to make a stupid amount of Zergling and Baneling, but... If Dark can justify making 2 macro hatcheries before he needs them, you can definitely make some as well, okay? Just trying to buy some time. +1 infantry weapons finishing up here for the Terran player, and that's gonna give those Marines a nice power spike. There is a siege tank available right now too. Keep in mind, though, that there's no Baneling speed or anything like that even remotely close. I mean, the lair is only just now about 1/3 of the way done, and you need lair to be able to go into the Baneling speed. So it's just going to be Zerglings, unupgraded ones as well. Unless he buys enough time and 1-1 can finish, which is probably about 20 seconds away. I'm a little surprised by the passivity right here of ByuN. Like, this... Okay. I did not expect the siege tank to go over there, but I guess he saw that the rocks were knocked down, so he decided, you know what, I can't really commit anymore. The siege tank can reach the other side, apparently. That seems very far away, but yeah, it can just barely reach that angle. So at the very least, 1-1 will finish up, though, for the Zerg. Still only 55 drones. Okay. Are we gonna YOLO into this? I don't know if I like it, man. Can we retarget with the siege tank? We certainly can. Absolute bloodbath here once again. My god. He's trying to get the Banelings to connect here with the Marines, but that medevac, man, it's healing those units for such a long time. What a trait right there for the Terran. 125 lings have gone down by the 8-minute mark. I love how I can cast a Zerg versus Terran between Dark and ByuN over and over and over again, and the games are just different every single time. Rarely do we see them play a normal game. A quote-unquote normal game. Like, from the outset, if you're a casual viewer, maybe this looks normal to you. But if you've been watching quite a bit of StarCraft, you'll recognize the strange strategies and the decisions that they're making in these games. Again, just to counter the opponent. 2-2 has been fired up. And he's prioritized Burrow. Burrow over Baneling speed. What in the world is that? Do we not go Baneling speed? I almost feel like he's forgotten it at this point. Anyways. That is another meat grinder and a half right over there. Keep in mind that the 3rd command center is only just now finished up. So this is ByuN effectively on 2 base, well, all in, for a very long time. And I feel like Baneling speed would be the most amazing upgrade to have here. Although I guess burrowed Banes would not be too far behind that. Okay, the siege tanks here are gonna end up going down, it looks like, but that was very expensive. I don't know if I like that decision right there for Mr. Dark all too much. I mean, it's just the Marines that he has to deal with right now. Liberators over here are getting sniped as well. Reinforcing units are gonna show up. Command center flying on down towards the low ground. Reinforcing links do indeed jump all of these Marines, but now there's a lot of medevacs up in the air. Looks like there's just enough links that have been flooded out onto the map to actually justify this. Yeah, slowly though. Even though all of the fights have been cleaned up so far by Dark, ByuN has gained a foothold right here on the side of the Zerg. And there really isn't a way for Dark to keep up with all of these units that are now on his side. So in the end, it's ByuN who obtains the victory 2-1 in a very explosive series of StarCraft 2.